Signs of the Fairies by Fenlon, including some thrifted pictures found inside. One morning, while it was still misty, Stephen, Paul, and Emily slipped away for a walk in the woods to see what they could find. You know, you don't often see the fairies, but you surely do see signs of the fairies. When they came to a cobweb swinging on a branch, Emily said, "Why, this must be where the fairies live. Everyone knows they sleep in little hammocks like this." Stephen picked up a mullein leaf beside the hammock and said, "They dropped their fuzzy warm blanket." Little Paul ran ahead and called back, "I found some pixie cups." "You mean fairy cups?" said Emily. "The fairies drink rain and dew from them, but these are empty," said Paul. "They'll drink these nice big drops of water around this strawberry leaf," said Stephen. "And then they'll have a strawberry for breakfast," said Emily. When Stephen saw some little grass brooms with dew still on them, he knew that no one had swept the floors yet. "I wonder if an old fairy grandfather and grandmother sit together on this mushroom love seat," said Emily. "Because this fern frond looks like a grandfather's cane, and this flower must be a grandmother's bag. Look at the ruffles and drawstrings on it." "Look," said Stephen, "pants on a clothesline." "Oh, you mean Dutchman's breeches?" said Emily. "Here's a little brown Dutch shoe around a seed," said Stephen. Paul stooped down, and pulled it off. "There," he said, smiling. "Oh, look what I found," cried Emily. "Orchid slippers. Slippers to match pink dresses, yellow dresses, and lavender dresses. And even little orchid hats. Here's where they get their leafy little coats," said Paul, standing in a patch of bloodroot. The bloodroot shows each fairy just how to wrap a leaf around himself to make a nice warm coat. Paul began to run around and around a tree, trying not to step on the shadows. "You're out," cried Emily. "You stepped on a black line." "That must be where the fairies play hopscotch," said Stephen. "And I'll bet the fairies get boxing gloves from that fern." "Wouldn't this gentian be a good place for the fairies to play hide and seek?" asked Emily. "Here are some Indian pipes like mine," said Paul. "Do you think the fairies use them to blow bubbles?" He picked one. "You know very well you're not supposed to pick things," scolded Emily, snatching it away. Then the children saw a witch hazel throwing out its seeds. "Shh! Stand still," whispered Stephen. "That witch hazel is playing catch with the fairies." "This gay wings blossom has been turned into an airplane," said Emily. "They must have a magic wand to do that," said Stephen. "Let's see if we can find it." And sure enough, nearby was a flower called the fairy wand. "Here it is," cried Emily. What would the poor fairies do without a wand? Stephen was wondering when suddenly, before anyone knew what was happening, Paul picked it. "Paul," the others cried. They turned and ran. Calling back, "Paul, you can just stay here by yourself and take the blame." Paul was all alone in the deep woods. A thrush stood up, forgetting her eggs, and looked worried. Then a flicker came out of her nest and looked all around to see what was going to happen. Paul was so afraid he threw the wand as far as he could, and he stumbled over himself 5 times getting out of that woods. The end.